All right, welcome everyone. I'm just going to let people get settled here. We've got people joining and getting connected to audio. This is the Gies Online iMSM degree webinar. So we'll give everyone a few minutes to get to join, to get connected, get your audio connected. Go ahead and if you'd like, scan the QR code on your screen. That'll get you in touch with our team if you have any questions after the webinar, or if you'd like more information, that's a great place to get that. Welcome. We are just kind of waiting for those numbers to stabilize here. Welcome. Thank you everyone so much for joining us. We are, I apologize, running a couple minutes late here, but it's so good to see everyone. I'm just gonna launch a quick poll here while we're waiting. Just want to see where everyone is joining us from. So go ahead and let us know, just very, very generally, kind of what general area you're joining us from. It's the United States, Canada, Asia. Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. As I said, this is the Gies Online iMSM degree webinar. My name is Amy Simpson. I'm a coordinator with the recruitment and admissions team here at Gies Online Programs with the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. And I'm here with a very special student ambassador guest who's going to be telling about her experience in the iMSM program. So Manmeet, do you want to do a quick introduction and just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of your background before we get started?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Amy, for having me on this webinar. It's a pleasure speaking as an iMSM student. I joined this degree in 2021, so I'm at the end of it. It's pretty much my last semester, and oh my God, like when I look back at it, it's been one hell of a ride. It's been an absolutely incredible experience. I recently started working. I'm the AVP for product innovation at Access Capital, and I got this job during my iMSM journey and like because of it. So really happy to kind of, share any insights, help out anybody, and give whatever information is required. So yeah, happy to be here.
Great, wonderful. We are glad to have you, and we will definitely kind of mine your insight as we go through today. Wonderful. Looks like we have most of our participants polled, heavily US and Canada, and a couple from Asia. So welcome everyone. I'm going to go ahead and end that poll. So thank you so much for joining us. There will be a recording of the webinar, so that will be accessible later if you miss something, or if you have questions or just want to revisit later on. We have a really great playlist on YouTube of all of our webinars, mock classes, things like that. So I encourage you to check that out. And if you do have questions throughout the webinar, go ahead and feel free to stick those in the Q&A. So at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you'll see a little kind of chat bubble icon with Q&A under it. Those just help us to kind of keep track of your questions and make sure that everyone benefits from the answers. And always feel free to, follow up with us via phone, via email afterward. We have some great admissions counselors who would be happy to meet with you, chat more about specific situations, things like that. Great. So let's get into it. We are here for about an hour. I try to leave a little bit of time because we do have other program webinars right after us. But here's a little bit of an agenda. We're going to go through kind of generally the College of Business here at UIUC, the specific program overview, curriculum, and some tips and tricks with your application, either to this program or to really any of our online. All right. So here are some, I'm going to throw a lot of numbers at you. So again, this is an area where you might want to come back and revisit these slides or revisit the video later if you like. Some reason to choose UIUC. There's some interesting tidbits about the university as a whole. If you didn't know, it is a land grant institution, so that comes with some really interesting research potential and things like that. That is a very old status, I guess, that it started back in 1862 after President Lincoln signed the Morrill Act. Is kind of when it was granted that status. So that's some interesting history there. Lots very highly regarded university in general, so lots of different awards and grants and a lot of it's a very research heavy institution. Almost 500,000 alumni around the world, so very, very well regarded, very well known as a university. Gies College of Business in general, within the business community, again, very, very well known. The online programs, as you can see, we were the MBA was named Program of the Year. Our dean was named Dean of the Year. We have a growing alumni network ourselves with over 79,000 alumni counting. Number 3, accounting faculty. We kind of have all these things going for it. So we're very proud of the quality of the education that we're providing at the college level and at the university level. So you're in good company going into any of the online programs. Excuse me. And these are just, again, throwing some more numbers at you. A little bit more about Gies in particular. So when it comes to our online programs, these are just some of the numbers, the effort that goes into producing our online curriculum and online materials. So 19,000 videos created going into all of our programs, all of our courses, things like that, across 74 faculty members, 250 teaching and course assistants. So there's a lot of support across the staff, the faculty, the administration. 40 weekly live sessions going on across all of our programs, things like that. And we'll talk a little bit more about those things in just a little bit. So in general, some things that you'll see repeated across online programs in College of Business: flexibility, stackability, and online by design. So I want to talk a little bit about these things in more. The flexibility is going to come in that you can sort of tailor these programs to your own schedule, whatever's going on in your life. So you have up to 5 years to finish the iMSM program or any other program that graduate program that you're doing, online programs. The iMSM in particular can be finished in as few as 12 months. But if you're someone who you'd like to take it a little slower, or maybe you have a really busy work and home life and you need to take a break now and then, that is something that's very, very doable. Stackability, we have a lot of options to where you can kind of build up to a full master's degree if you're not ready to take on that full commitment right away. And then online by design, all of our programs were intentionally designed to be online. They were not adapted to be online. And I'll explain that in a little bit detail here in just a bit. But here's a visual for you in terms of stackability. So our degrees kind of start with these MOOCs, so massive open online courses. Those you can stack into 4 credit courses, which can stack into graduate certificates, which can stack into full graduate degrees. Now, a lot of people think of it as the small to big kind of stacking, which works great for some people. They start with MOOCs via Coursera, which is sort of the asynchronous kind of. A lot of people, if you have online, maybe what they're with, and the high engagement component is perhaps something new. And I'll go into detail a bit. And then these other things are sort of additional to that as well. But one thing I want to emphasize is that it's not always linear like that, or it doesn't have to be. So when we talk about stackability, we can also talk about reskilling or upskilling or filling gaps as well. So you don't necessarily have to, start with the smaller pieces. You can, move, kind of move around, and fill gaps as needed as well. Oh, I apologize. It sounds like my audio is going in and out. I do apologize for that. Give me one moment.
Yeah, Amy, I think it's fine now. It was a little shaky in the previous slide.
Okay, perfect. I think I've adjusted it a bit, so I hope that that helps. Before we talk about some of the details of the iMSM here, I want to take it back to Mehdi for a moment. Can you tell us a little bit about why you initially chose the iMSM and kind of what was the tipping point for you for pursuing this degree in particular, and kind of what led you to applying, and just sort of how you ended up deciding on this particular path for yourself?
Yeah, thanks for that question, Amy. I initially, when I joined iMSM, I think the idea at that time was I joined in 21, so it was the pandemic was going on, and I'm just reevaluating a lot of life decisions, and it was more like, if not now, then when? Because you have the time and the energy to kind of invest in yourself, more importantly. So I think that was a big driving factor. I always knew I wanted to do a master's degree. I wanted to do something within the management field, and that's something that I was always, that was a goal of mine. But I feel like one thing we do as professionals is that when we're working in our day-to-day lives, we find like 100 reasons why not to do it, or I'm so busy, this and that. I think what was perfect was, like you mentioned a few slides ago, was the flexibility that this program offers. That was really important to me. I really wanted to, because we all have different schedules. We were working at different times. Some of us are balancing family life as well. So just wanted to make sure that this is something that could be like I want to learn, but at a time when I'm available, or like I'm able to, in the sense, like if I'm working in a 9-to-5 job and I'm not able to kind of take out the time, then at 6 p.m. I should be able to open up my laptop and be able to learn, because that's my end goal. So I think that's how the journey really began. And I think what drew me to MSM as compared to the other degrees was the two factors. One was the size, the duration. It was, you just need 36 credits. So realistically, this degree can be done in a year or a year and a half, depending on what kind of combination of courses you take. And the second thing was a cost. I think right now with the, market and inflation and things like that, I wanted to make sure that at least at the time in 21, when I was doing this degree, or I started at least, all degrees were online, and the cost of some of them can be ridiculously high, and this was something that made more sense to me.
Absolutely, and that's one thing. One of Gies College of Business, one of Gies' mission is to democratize education. So you'll find that the price point is a big factor for a lot of people, and that's one way that the college in general across their online programs is really trying to make business education more accessible for people. So that's always really great to see, because you're absolutely right. Business degrees and across the board can get very, very pricey. So yes, the going into the details about the iMSM, very, very affordable price point when you think about the quality of the education, the investment that you're putting into your future, and the doors that it could potentially open for you moving forward. So this degree is a Master of Science in Education, a Master of Science in Management degree from the University of Illinois. The total cost comes in just under $12,000 US. That does include tuition and fees. Usually 12 to 24 months completion. Again, as I said before, you do have up to 5 years to complete the degree. And that's something that you would just speak with our advising team if you did need to take a break, or if you need to adjust your timeline. That's part of sort of their role in supporting you, is helping you find that right balance of course load and things like that. We have 5 start dates: January, March, May, August, and October, when you can start this degree. So it is kind of a rolling start throughout the year. And by the numbers, again, throwing some more numbers at you, 34 is the average age of students in this program, with 9.5 years of work experience. At the moment, we have 73 countries represented, over 500 companies represented. I think there were over 400 job titles in the program, 44% women, 37% international students. So it's a very diverse program. And I always tell people during interviews and people that I talk to about, when they ask about, what are the students like in this program? There's such a variety of backgrounds, of career field, of people going in with different goals to the iMSM, and what they're going to do with this degree when they get out of the program. So it's really interesting to me to talk to people about, why are you going into the iMSM, and what were your goals, coming out of it. So Namita, I want to go back to you again. Is that something that you found in your experience? Like, talk to us a little bit about your, your peers, I guess, but your experience in working with people and these discussions in the programs. Is that something that I guess just tell us your experience, in working with your other peers so far at the program, since you're essentially done. And congratulations, by the way, on basically being finished with your degree.
Thanks. I think one thing that I'd like to share is that this is a global program. And I think a lot of people underestimate how powerful that can be. So you have friends, you have colleagues, you have peers, people who are studying with you, who are working in influential positions around the world. And that means, I think what's the best part of it is that, especially when you start working and then, or you switch jobs, or when you're like in a career, in a role, sometimes you do need that kind of advice. You need a group of people you can bounce ideas with. You need, people to share their experiences. So and that's in professional settings, especially like you saw, like most of us have, or some of us have at least 9+ years of experience or 10 years of experience. The guidance can deteriorate almost. Like, people expect you to know things in your job roles. There's nobody taking the time out to actually explain to you, oh, this is how it's done. So along with the education, which is obviously, honestly, when I started the degree, I didn't know. I thought this is going to be super easy, just a couple of, it was good challenging, in the sense, like, it made me want to work hard and like study and like really pay attention to a couple of things. So it is a quality education. We have some of the best professors, but besides that, we also have this community of peers, not just in US, around the world, like all across the globe, with whom you can always share information. You can bounce ideas when you're stuck in a work situation, you don't know what to do. You can always, like, we have this thing called Workplace, which is only for the online degree students. And even like now I'm graduating, I will still have access as an alumni to it. And it's basically a LinkedIn sort of a thing, but only for the university students, and wherein we can like discuss and share our experiences, ask for advice, and people are really friendly, really friendly, which is not always the case in corporate experience, but definitely in this student environment, in an environment where everybody wants to learn and grow, but also help you learn and grow. We genuinely like support each other's achievements. We're excited when our colleagues get that job. So yeah, I mean, this is again something that I don't know if it's there in the numbers, but something that I experienced as a student of IMSM. Yeah.
Great, wonderful, thank you. That's really great to hear, because that's what we're hoping for. And you're absolutely right. It does. I think, you know, a lot of us experience that, where once you're in, like you said, a position for a while, or any situation for a while, you kind of forget what it's like to be in a new environment, or you forget what those initial questions are. So it's always nice to have kind of an outside perspective, or just a different perspective. And that variety, or that diversity, is nice to hear. Just different ideas, or different opinions about how people have maybe handled things, or different problems or solutions or case studies that might come up. And this kind of environment is a really great way to experience that. So just in general, some points about, what is a management degree. So it's meant to provide essential business management skills. So some people ask, what is the difference between the iMSM and the iMBA? So the iMBA is going to go into more depth on business related things. So it's going to have more of, accounting, finance, depth in those areas. The iMSM degree is going to focus on, kind of a broader foundational level of business management. It's designed for working professionals and it's suitable for people entering the workforce and people with years of experience. So if you're someone who has technical experience, but maybe you're newer to leadership or management, this could be a really good fit for you. Again, like all of our programs, it's also meant for practical application. So the hope is that you are able to learn, something maybe in the evening or in the morning, depending on when you're doing your studying or your live courses, and then turn around and go to work and use that in a practical application in your day-to-day work immediately as you're as far as the curriculum, so 36 hours make up this degree. You're going to have 24 core credits and then 12 credits in electives. So these are on the left here. These are your core curriculum, so your business fundamentals, essentially. And then on the right, you're going to find your electives. And these are suggested course pairing. And these are just tracks that have been paired together as suggestions. So if you happen to be interested in these topics, these are suggested courses that the college has put together for you. If you want to pick and choose, you can also build your own. So you're not locked into any of these tracks. You can also piece together your own, as long as you're meeting that 12 credit hour. Okay. And going back, we mentioned before, there are kind of two components to all of our courses. So this is across the board, whether you're taking a full master's degree, a graduate certificate, whatever it might be. The Coursera component is that asynchronous part. So again, if you're already familiar with Coursera, you kind of know what I'm talking about. This is going to include things like sort of the self-paced videos, auto-graded quizzes, maybe written assignments, peer evaluations, things like that. Kind of like, as I said, the asynchronous part of things. We often refer to it as the textbook part of our course. And then on the Illinois side, there's the high engagement component. So on Coursera, we also call that the MOOC side of things. On the Illinois side, this high engagement component will build on that MOOC. So you're going to have live weekly lectures with the faculty. So your professors, your TAs, they're going to be there live teaching your weekly lectures with your breakout rooms, those live discussions, things like that. And that's where you're going to have your discussion, projects, things there. You're going to, you'll have case studies, faculty office hours are available to you as well.
Losing your audio a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. And all of those parts of that high engagement component paired with the MOOC are what make up the entire Illinois course. Okay, and these are just some examples. So when we talk about faculty sessions or live lectures, these are some just photos of our faculty in our studio, working on some of our tech that go into our lessons. So this is a really exciting way for us to convey these materials to our students. And as I said, all of these courses, all of these programs were designed to be online. So this is a very exciting thing for the university and for the college. So these programs are really kind of innovative, and they're really changing the way that education is delivered to students all around. So one thing I always like to point out, because we get a lot of questions about this, obviously we refer to our degrees, our online degrees, as the iMSM, the iMBA, and the iMSA. The I is just to refer to the method of delivery, so just to let you know that they are delivered online. They are full master's degrees, so when you receive a diploma, it's not going to note anywhere on the transcript, on the degree itself, that the program is online. The I is not going to be there anywhere. It is going to be from the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. So the iMSM in particular is going to say, Master of Science in Management from the University of Illinois. So just so that's clear, the I is just a notation to let you know that it's the online version as opposed to the residential version. Okay. In general, Gies online programs has grown a lot. We are comparatively to the university, we are a relatively new, part of the business school, or relatively new programs. We're already looking at, more than 6,000 online students with 3,000 alumni. All 50 states represented now. That was a fairly recent accomplishment that we had. So we got to turn all those states orange. 99 countries represented as well. So as Mamit said, we are truly a global program. So very likely that you will encounter people from all over the world in whatever program that you're enrolled in, or whatever courses you're enrolled in. And let me also mention this a little bit, but networking. A lot of people ask, how am I expected to network in an online program? We do have a lot of opportunities, actually, and because it is a global program, a global network, there are some opportunities that you might not expect from a program like this. So from the college side, the Gies-led opportunities are things like iConnect, Immersions, and iConverge. So iConverge is a yearly event. It's the big on-campus event that we have every year, where we invite current students and alumni to come to campus, usually in the fall. And it's over a few days. And it's part professional development, part meet the faculty, part just kind of fun. We try to go to a football game and things like that. It's a great opportunity to see the campus, see where your degree is coming from, and things like that. And I'll show you some pictures here in just a second from last year's iConverge. Immersions are a great sort of add-on to your degree program. These can be either domestic or international, and also in person or online. These are sort of case studies where you would go out with a group of students and you would be working with a real company on a real case or a real problem that they have. So you're working with real world issues using the skills that you've learned in your degree program or in your courses. So those are really interesting opportunities, and we always get really great feedback about our immersions. iConnects happen sometimes in connection with immersions. So those are sort of opportunities for students to get together and have a little bit of networking. So maybe a dinner or some kind of get together, plus a speaker or some sort of professional development. As far as student-led opportunities, Workplace, as we were talking about, is kind of a social media type of platform that's exclusively for Gies students and alumni. And that is a really busy place that students post questions and discussions and job listings and, I'm interviewing with this company. Does anybody have any insight? All kinds of things happen on Workplace. Student-led meetups are really popular. So students are very passionate about meeting one another, and they're very proud to be involved with Gies and, being that part of that 500,000, U of I alumni network. So they will say, hey, I'm going to be in this area or this city for a layover or something. Does anybody have time to meet up, or would you like to grab dinner or something? And then obviously your group work in your courses themselves, those are great opportunities to just chat and meet people and hear about other people's experiences. And just gain some perspective and learn about what other people are doing in their career fields or in their position. And there's always a lot to learn from your peers, as well as obviously from our amazing faculty who are involved in. And these are just some photos. These are from a recent immersion in Seattle. As you can see, there are some very fun things involved in immersions, as well as a lot of very educational, practical experiences going on there as well. And this was iConverge in 2022. So this happened in late September, I believe. Around 500 students and alumni in attendance, 38 states, 17 countries represented, and 22 faculty members were able to attend. I know we had a huge group come from Singapore. I think they were the ones who traveled the furthest to be here. But again, it's great to just get everybody together, and it's kind of funny to see people, recognize one another from being on Zoom with each other for so long, and they, oh, you're taller than I expected, and things like that. So that was a really great opportunity to be a part of that event. Maybe have you been able to attend iConverge? Or
I did attend iConverge in 2022, so I'm in one of these pictures, but it was fantastic. It was everything I imagined and above. It was really great to finally meet people who we were connecting on Zoom with. So yeah, it was really special.
Great, wonderful. Yeah, it always seems like people are very, very excited. You can kind of see, it's a little bit hard to tell from this picture, but people get very excited and creative about their orange and blue, and the outfits they come up with is really kind of fun.
Some of them, had a strong sneaker game. They made sure they found the perfect orange color. We had people with the orange and blue glasses, like the frames. It was fun to see all of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. And then here are just some examples from Workplace and LinkedIn. Just people from all walks of life, all different backgrounds. Again, kind of demonstrating that flexibility of you can literally do these programs from anywhere. Kind of mold them to your schedule, to your lifestyle, make it work for you. Which again is one of those great perks about the way that the programs are structured and the way that this degree is structured. Is that it makes it really easy to make it work with your life and your timeline and what you're able to do when you're able to do. And then student meetups. Again, these are completely student-led. These are groups of students who have said, hey, I think we live nearby, or hey, I think we're going to be in the same place at the same time. Let's get together. And again, a lot of people, bust out their Illinois gear, or they get together and make their own events happen. So that's always fun. Okay, and then as I mentioned earlier, we do have a student and academic success team, which is essentially our advising. So their job is to help you with any questions that you have after you're enrolled in a degree program. As you're going along, help you with that timeline. If you need a break, if you need to make sure you're ticking all the boxes as you go along, that's what they're there for. So they have all different versions of support. They have office hours, they have one-on-one appointments, they have email support, they have degree planning. So that's kind of, they're sort of your one-stop shop for, after you're admitted, after you're enrolled, they sort of take over that support, you know, because they're in some online settings, there can kind of be this feeling of, okay, I'm in, now what? You know, so this is sort of your team to carry you through that degree planning process. So Mehmet, have you utilized this team? Have you had encounters with them? What has been your experience, you know, going through the admin process, I guess, after the, you know, application, admission, you know, getting into the program?
Yeah, I mean, they're really helpful. I think I used their help and support in the beginning of my degree, you know, so when you're kind of confused, what subject should I pair? Should I take this subject with this one? Will the coursework be really hard? Will it be easy? I think that's when talking to these advisors and talking to this team can help clear your mind. And, you know, along with that, obviously, you have a lot of seniors in the sense that they've progressed through the degree a lot more, or they're farther along, who are also willing to kind of share any tips and insights as needed. So, you know, especially with like email support, I think that was very, very helpful and crucial. We have you know, I'm not going to say the email ID, but a specific email ID that we have where whenever we have any questions or any support that we need, we shoot them an email, and within like, you know, 24 to 48 hours, we get a response. Especially when you're online and you have certain questions, you're not sure of what to do or where to go, whether it's a grade that you have a question about, like, you know, any of that, you could always count on the email support to answer. So I've never not had anybody, like I've never had a situation where somebody did not reply to me. Every time I asked a question, I was always given the support, like, okay, this is what you need to do, or this is your next step. For the smallest of things, it could be for those whose companies are sponsoring them, tuition reimbursement, how to go about that. So those kind of questions, they're pretty quick and really helpful.
Perfect. Wonderful. That is, again, that is good to hear. I'm so glad you've had such a good experience so far. That's always what we hope for. And you made a really good point. So, excuse me, another great thing that this team is really knowledgeable about is pairings of courses. So there are some courses that you maybe don't want to take at the same time. Maybe they're really, you know, heavy content, or, you know, they're heavy project based or heavy paper based, or, you know, whatever it may be. Maybe you don't want to pair them at the same time. This team can tell you that. So they'll say, you know, maybe you want to pair these two together instead, or maybe you want to take a break and only take this one by itself. This is the team to kind of check on those pairings and stuff with, because they are very knowledgeable about what is involved in each course and kind of what the content is like, and all of those sorts of details. And they can help kind of guide you about, you know, that sort of feedback and what other students have said, and those sorts of things. Perfect. So again, just sort of a recap here of some of the high points of Gies and the university. So it is, you know, all around, you're getting quality education. You're getting those resources that come with the alumni network. You know, just what you're walking away with is something that you can use immediately. Again, that flexibility, stackability, online by design is built in. And you have the innovation and the award-winning programs and faculty that run, you know, throughout the courses, throughout the support, and all of our programs. So just really quickly, I know we're kind of running short on time, but I want to run through our application requirements and just sort of how that process works. So in order to apply for the iMSM, you will need to start an application with the Graduate College at the University of Illinois. And the documents you'll need to upload to that application portal include these things. So a professional resume. On that resume, try to keep it, you know, to 1 or 2 pages. We don't need a full CV. Academic history, so include all transcripts. If you are an international student, that may mean mark sheets for you. You'll also need, if any of your transcripts, mark sheets, diploma, any of that are not in English, you will need a translation into English as well. And you'll find on our website, there's a whole page, especially for international applicants, of English proficiency requirements and English translation requirements and things like that as well. So definitely check that out. And Allison, I'm so sorry, I forgot to introduce my colleague. Allison is here to answer your questions. She's been great helping in the Q&A in the chat. Allison, if you do have that English proficiency and international student link handy, if you wouldn't mind throwing that in the chat quick, I would really appreciate it. So if you are an international student, excuse me, or an international applicant, please check out that link. There is a prompt for a personal statement, just to tell us a little bit more about yourself. This is kind of your time to shine, to tell us a little bit more about you and why you think you might be a good fit for this program and why the program is a good fit for you and your goals. There's also a spot for an optional essay. So I always tell people that an optional essay is a great opportunity to explain any kind of unique circumstances that you might have. So for example, if you don't exactly meet all of the minimum requirements, but you feel that you have a really strong application in other ways, and you feel that you'd be a really good candidate for this degree, go ahead and apply and maybe take that optional essay space to explain why. Tell us about your situation. Tell us about why you think you are still a really good candidate for this program. Or if, another example that I give people, the next item is 2 professional letters of recommendation. We always recommend that at least one of your letters is from a supervisor or someone who can vouch for your quality of work and things like that. Because it is a business degree. We sometimes will get people who own their own business and they don't have a supervisor. So an optional essay would be a perfect opportunity to explain that situation of I started my own business. I've always owned my own business. This is why I don't have a supervisor. This is why my letters of recommendation are from the people they're from. Situations like that. Maybe it's a little bit different than what's required or what's being asked of you. That's the perfect place for an optional essay. Jumping back to letters of recommendation, if you are somebody who is coming straight out of undergrad, maybe you are, going right into your career, you are, new to the workforce, somebody like a professor or somebody in a supervisory type role would also work for those letters of recommendation. Again, if you are an international applicant, for English proficiency, we do require TOEFL, IELTS, or a Duolingo score. There are some exceptions to that where a waiver essay would be acceptable. So again, please do have a look at that link that Austin put in the chat. Thank you very much for that. GRE and GMAT scores, completely optional. So if you have taken one of those tests and you have scores that you're proud of, please feel free to go ahead and submit those. That's great. We will take that as another data point to assess with the rest of your application. If you've not taken those tests, or if you are not so proud of your scores and don't want to submit those, that's totally fine too. Don't worry about it. They are not required. Okay. And scholarship essays. There are a couple of scholarship prompts. When scholarships are open, they are in the application portal. Scholarship essays are open now for the fall application period. Those prompts will be in the portal, and you'll just submit your essays within that portal for the scholarships that you'd like to apply for. And those will be assessed with the rest of it. All applications are evaluated holistically, so we'll take all of your application material and look at those as kind of a whole big picture. Okay, and then as far as the review, our admissions team will review everything, make sure nothing is missing. And we do evaluate those on a rolling basis. So the sooner you apply, the better, just because there are some additional perks and advantages that come along with applying, sooner, as soon as you can. Typically, the evaluation period is 1 to 2 weeks after completion of your application. So within 1 to 2 weeks, you should have something back from our admissions team, whether it's a decision or PSR needs clarification, or you're missing this document, or perhaps it would be a request to interview. Okay. Right now, we are on the priority 2 deadline for a fall 2023 start. That would be an August start. The next deadline is June 1st. So this is the last deadline for scholarship consideration for an August start. So please be sure to submit your application by June 1st. You also can get these other benefits by submitting by that deadline. So priority registration, and also early access to Coursera for Illinois, as well as networking platforms like Workplace that we mentioned before, and things like that. So very, very important if you are interested in applying for those scholarships.
There is a question, Amy, by Sabrina that I'd like to answer. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's a fantastic question. So Sabrina asked, I think, with the program being diverse geographically, what is the biggest challenge for you? How did you overcome that? And what is the ratio of group work versus individual work in most courses?
Great question.
Yeah, thanks for that question, Sabrina. I think it's great that you're thinking of that, so far ahead, because, there is obviously, I think it's a very valid question. So definitely with us all being spread out and, in different parts of the world, one thing that the university does is that it asks us to give our availabilities for group meetings. So, for example, for me, I'm based out of Boston. So if I want a 7 p.m. time frame is something that works best for me because it's after work and I can make the weekdays work. Similarly, that might match somebody who's, maybe in Europe or in Dubai or Singapore who would like to work early their time. So, there can be synergies in that sense. So we fill out a group for the group pairing, a time slot availability. So me as a student will fill out, okay, I'm available on this time. And then what the administration really does is that they will then see, okay, there are 5 people who are available at this time, let's put them together in a group. So it is geographically diverse in the sense that, and just in terms of group work, you will be working with teammates across the world. The only challenge is that 99% of the times, yes, we're all in the same time zone and things work out well, but there is occasionally 1 or 2 people who are in a different time zone than us. And, just finding that common time for us to sit and discuss about what is it that we want to do with this assignment is something that needs to be discussed. I don't know if it's necessarily a challenge because almost all of the times, at least in my experience, people are flexible and willing to work with one another. So nobody's very stuck up, no, I cannot do this, or this time does not work for me. They always try and find a way to work and collaborate with their teammates, because eventually it's the entire group that's going to get the marks for the assignment, for example. So in order to overcome it, I think having open communication with your teammates, explaining to them situations. One thing that you will learn in the degree itself in leadership in teams, one of the courses, fantastic course, absolutely one of my favorites, is that, we don't take stances. We don't just say yes or no. We give the reasoning behind it. We don't take a position without explaining our interest. So we kind of, talk about, this is the reason why this time would work best for me. And then everybody collaborates and then we work together. And in terms of ratio for group work versus individual work, I think it's a healthy amount. Within the 8-week, let's say there are 8 assignments, I would say 2 to 3 of them would be group assignments. The rest of them can be, individual assignments as well. So I actually found some of my best friends through these group assignments when they pair us with like people from different parts of the world, and we're all putting our heads together and collaborating. Okay, how do we solve this? It's just an exciting environment overall because we all have the same goal, and just to hear different perspectives, how different people think, it can be magical. It can literally, like, oh, I never thought of this in this way. So yeah, it's an exciting program for sure. I hope that answers your question.
Great, wonderful. Well, thank you. We are running out of time, but thank you so much, Benny, for being here and for your perspective. And I'm so glad that you have had a good experience. And congratulations. It is graduation year, so we have a lot of graduates coming to campus. I think we have more than 600 graduates this week who are graduating from our degree program. So it's very exciting. But again, we have our contact information on the screen right now if you have further questions. It looks like we have everything answered for now. Allison, thank you so much for your help with the Q&A. geesonline@illinois.edu is our email. You can also scan the QR code to get in touch and schedule a one-on-one appointment with an admissions counselor, or just send us any other questions that you may have. Thank you all for joining us. It was very nice to have you all here, and hope to chat to more of you soon. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.